Welcome to the Midweek Meta Report. Well, I'm going to spend the next 5 or 10 minutes talking about Hearthstone in the middle of the week. Talking about the meta. You get the picture. So, Paladin is strong. Paladin has been strong for a while. It's not going anywhere, but it's starting to see some chinks in their armor right now. And the reason I'm saying this is the class rates were almost the same, but when we looked at last week's and the week before's legend and top legend climb, it was almost aggro and Enrage Warrior. Now there's so many other things that are right now on tier 1, which is cool. It's going to be fun and different when you're not just sitting there seeing the same decks over and over again. So if we look at legend top 1000, there's 4 to choose one, as including Aggro Paladin, so it's not as crazy. And remember, HS Replay gives you some of the data. They give a lot of data. I give them mad respect for how much data they give us, but it's not a total, this is exactly what's going on. This is just those that are using HS Replay as their aggregator. So going over some decks, Aggro Paladin is just as strong as it was. It's powerful. There's not a lot, if not any, of the new cards from Showdown in the Badlands. It's 6,820 dust. I'm going to briefly touch upon this, and the overall win rate is 59.5%, and it's still pretty high unless you go to Legend, and then it goes down a little bit. It's still a good deck, and one of the reasons why it is so good, and this is the cool thing about this, is core card. Crusader Aura is a core card, so it should be in everybody's collections, and it's a pretty interesting card. When I started playing it, I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't busted. It's broken. It's busted. It's good. If I was playing any Paladin cards or any Paladin deck, I would absolutely consider putting this in the deck. Having any of the board, just even if you have a couple of 1/1s on the board, having this spell in play for 3 turns for 4 mana, it's just crazy good. So I love it. And the next one, let's go over Mech Rogue. I wanted to put Rogue in the budget deck list that I do every single week, and it's just I can't find anything below 5,000 dust, which is one of my requirements. But listen, this Mech Rogue, it's 11,560 dust with a 56.2% win rate, and the Mulligan Guide is what it was. It's a Mech Rogue deck. You've all seen it. It's been around for a while. It's got Mimiron in it. It's got Voltron. It now has Thunderbringer. It didn't have that one until the card came out. And Neptulon as well. These are good cards. I don't see how throwing Neptulon and Thunderbringer in here would be a Mech Rogue, but that's what it says, and that's what I'm going to do. But it is a good deck, and it's Rogue. We haven't seen too many Rogues, especially in the budget decks right now, below 5,000. This one is expensive. Next one, Hound Hunter. Hound Hunter's back. This thing was pretty awesome a couple of weeks back, a couple of months back, and then it just dropped after the nerfs that were done to the cards in this deck, and now it's making a comeback, and it's a very good comeback. 59.3% win rate with 5,560 dust, and it is Hound Hunter. You're building up, you're working on your Hollow Hound. You now have Agrimar in it. Didn't have that in an original because this wasn't around during Titans. And then Hope of Quel'Thalas. When your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1. Barrel of Monkeys is there. Always a bigger Jormonger. This is a great card. Even though it was nerfed, I would absolutely put this in this deck. It would be silly not to put it in the deck. And then it also has now Azerite Chain Gang, which gives you the ability to have Battle Cry and Quick Draw to summon a copy of this. It's a good deck. Next one, Enrage Warrior, 7,560 dust. I've seen a lot of Enrage Warrior the past couple of weeks, past 10 days right now. And the reason is it's very good. One of the main things that you're working on is buffing your hands that are buffing your cards that are in your hand and really, making them super, super strong. Decimator Ogre, having her at like 10-15 is amazing and just wipes the rest of the board. And then Thoril Balor, I thought that this card was something that would be situational, not used. This is amazing because any spell that you're working with right now is going to be fire spells, and it's easy for you just to get this one back without having to worry about it. Sanguine Deaths, I would keep this in any mulligan anytime to prepare for the Anima Extractor. And then whenever a friendly minion takes damage, give a random minion in your hand +1/+1. You know how it is. You've seen it. Enrage Warrior is really good. It's not going anywhere. I'm excited for that. And I'm just as excited as this one. Highlander Shaman. I mentioned a lot of Highlander decks last week, and when I did during the midweek meta report, I wasn't talking about how good Highlander Shaman was. It's good, but it's just getting more and more popular. The win rate's going up in the past couple of days. The popularity is starting to climb a little tiny bit. I think there's still a couple of tweaks that can be made to this deck, but it's very fun to play. It's at 15,360 dust, so it's not cheap, but the win rate is high, and I feel that over time, they're going to find the right combinations of the cards. Like when I first started playing Highlander Hunter, I had an amazing time, and I think the Highlander Hunter is not fully teched out at the time I started playing it. Now it's getting stronger and stronger, and you see people hitting legend with that deck. So don't sleep on this one either. And listen, talking about this, it's very difficult to put a strategy in place, or there's no OTK for any of the Highlander decks. It's just everything in your hand, everything in your deck that you will need to fight any opponent, and it's just situationally finding what works best. I do suggest, me personally, trying to keep Reno in the deck as quickly as possible. I would mulligan this immediately. And then I also like making sure that I have ETC Band Manager, if at all possible, for any of the items that you might need in ETC's band. And remember, you can change these. If Framester is not the big deal, it does mess up your opponent's Highlander if you're facing a Highlander mirror. But if you don't see a lot of those, you could switch that for something else if you wanted to. So very, very good. Also, Sir Finley's here. Keep this in your hand. You may need to swap out your entire hand with the bottom of your deck in case you don't have anything in your hand at the time that you need to play. So that's really it. I'm going to go ahead and throw these deck codes in the description like I always do. Please let me know what you're seeing in the meta right now, where you're at, what the climb is, how much fun you're having. Are you seeing a lot of Highlander decks? Highlanders, in my opinion, is very fun. I'm having a blast on this. I just posted 2 videos this week, Highlander Shaman and Highlander Hunter. It's just gameplay, and I don't do that often. So check that out, absolutely, and I will see you in the next video.